Hi, Gemini. I don't know what that was. That was interesting. Welcome to your 2020 forecast. We are going to look at January through June, and then there will be an extended where you can look at July through December. If you would like to get the extended, you can either go to my website and get the reading individually or on a playlist, or you can become a patron on Patreon, where you also get access to all of the meditations. You also get access to the extended love readings every month, and you get access to exclusive twin flame readings. So Patreon's pretty cool. So how we're going to do this is I have all of the major arcanas from one deck, and we're going to pick an overlying theme. So January through June, we'll pick an overlying theme. And then at the end of this reading, we'll actually pick the cards for July through December to see, so you guys can kind of see what the extended is going to look like. So after we pick each card, then we'll go through and clarify each month with tarot. I have noticed in individual and already in the Aries and Taurus readings that a lot of people are going through some very big spiritual journeys in 2020. I'm not surprised because of that Saturn and Pluto conjunction that's happening in Capricorn in January, and that's going to be kind of a big deal. It's going to be changing a lot of things and making us aware of, you know, what kind of karmic lessons we really need to like let ourselves see so we can actually change for the long run. So it'll be pretty intense, but I wouldn't be surprised if you guys also had a very high level spiritual reading as well. Not so much like the mundane everyday things like buying a house or taking a trip or something like that. This is going to be like on a much deeper level. So we start the year off with the Magician in January, which I'm really liking. So you guys are like, which makes sense. Like all of the planets are going to be direct on January 10th, I think, is when Uranus goes direct. So like the mutable sign that you are, you're just ready to go. Like ready to start making things happen. You're really feeling yourself because the Magician is ruled by Mercury. In February, we have the Moon. In March, we have the World. In April, we have the shadow side or the Devil. In May, we have the Empress. And in June, we have the Hanged Man. Okay. So you guys are starting the year off with a bang. I feel like there's something that you really have to get honest with yourself about. And it feels like there might be, like in March and April, I feel like in these 2 months, there's like this karmic lesson or a karmic story or something. Something's coming to an end. Probably a story you've been telling yourself or a karmic lesson that you've been living in. And then I kind of feel like in May and June, what happens is you start to feel really good about yourself, and then something happens where you're paused, where you are, and like it's in your month, you know, in your birthday month with June here. So it's sort of like you're on pause when it comes to whatever's going on after that. So let's see. I gotta like rearrange some things here. Sorry. We'll just put that on there. We'll let my phone charge over there. Okay. So let's start in January. The year is starting off really well, really big. Starting off with a bang. You coming out probably have lots of plans on how this year is going to be different than 2019, and you're not going to bring the same toxic people or the same toxic past into your new year. It's almost as if I feel like you are setting some pretty big intentions and you're making some pretty big plans. You're allowing yourself to dream really big. But I think that it, like within all of this big dreaming, it's like, for some of you, you want to have somebody to share all of this greatness with. And for some of you are pining over an old relationship, and some of you are just wanting a new one. Okay? you may be trying to manifest a new relationship into your life, but I feel like some things, you need to let go of some things before you start manifesting something new, okay? So we have Judgment and the Five of Cups and the Two of Cups. And I sort of feel like if you want to manifest, if you feel like it's time for you to start manifesting a new relationship in your life, and people say this to me all the time, they're like, Betsy, I'm ready. And I'm like, but I feel like you need to ask yourself if you're really ready, if you really, 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 truly are ready, or are you just hoping that you're ready and fingers crossed, I hope I'm healed, right? Because you don't want to get into another relationship or get into another situation. So I feel like you're having to be super honest with yourself about what you're manifesting. Because in February, and I feel like January and February go together, like I said, I feel like you're trying to manifest something like a new relationship into your life. Yeah, and maybe you even met someone. Maybe you've even met someone in January, or you feel like you've manifested this person into your life, and it started off really, really fast and hot and heavy, and it was going so well, and then all of a sudden, karma, right? And then you had to realize how much of a bitch karma can be, or like, oh wow, what's the lesson that I'm learning here? Because now everything is upside down and inside out, and what do I do? Because I feel like this came in really fast. I feel like you manifested something and it came into your life really, really fast. And then we have the Devil with the Five of Cups. Now you could be dealing with a Capricorn energy, maybe even a Taurus or a Libra, but this feels karmic to me. The feeling of the shoulda, coulda, woulda, like I really wish I would have done this differently, that sort of feeling is very karmic. You have to leave the path. It doesn't matter what you did with that. You did what you were supposed to do. There's nothing else that you could do differently that would change the outcome. Right? And then we have the Empress on the Two of Cups. So you could be dealing with a Libra or Taurus energy too. But here's the other thing is, why am I itchy all of a sudden? That's so weird. I feel like you want something new. You're trying to create something new in your life, but there's something that you're still holding on to that you have to let go of, Gemini. You're trying to create a new beginning, but it's not, that new beginning isn't going to be created by rushing the process. Don't rush the process. You're being supported without you having to rush the process, okay? And I think that's what you have to be honest with yourself about, is that you're still sort of holding on to something else from your past or something, like, you know what I mean? So we have the Moon for February. And the Moon is about being honest with yourself. It's about taking a good hard look in the mirror. This could be about an earth sign or somebody with heavy earth in their chart. Let's see. Okay. And I think that you've realized that this person is sort of the key to your undoing. This person is sort of your kryptonite. So it's like you do really, really well, and then all of a sudden this person shows up in your life, or they pop back up into your life, or, you know, something like that. So we have the Queen of Pentacles. So you could be dealing with an earth sign. We have the Ace of Cups, or somebody with heavy earth in their chart. And then we have the Tower, right? It's like you're walking along and everything's going fine and dandy and you're really loving on yourself, and this person shows back up again, and boom, it's like mass chaos. And that may be something that happens. It may be that you manifested this person coming back into your life in some way, or you're feeling their energy in some way, or they show back up in your life in some way, shape, or form. And now you're having to, and you know what's interesting is when the body reacts to a trigger, and we have all of those same feelings come rushing back of like when the actual moment of hurt happened, or, you know, the actual moment of that connection happened. All of those feelings come rushing back, and our body and our mind, it doesn't know our conscious knows the difference, that was the past and this is just a memory. But our body and our mind don't know the difference. That's why when we start to control our own emotions and our own thoughts, and we don't let these triggers control us, that's how we can start to control our environment a little bit more, and things can be a little bit more smoother because we're not allowing the trigger to get us like it did, right? Because your body is literally reacting to it in the same way as if it happened for the first time all over again. You see what I'm saying? So, and I know that's something that you guys can really appreciate in how all of this, because you're like, how do I make the trigger go away? How do I force this trigger out of my life? You just keep focusing on yourself. It doesn't happen overnight. And that's where the honesty factor is. It doesn't happen overnight. And sometimes there's that rare occurrence where you will constantly feel this person because they're connected to you through space and time, right? The Six of Cups, it's like you have that kind of connection with this person that defies time and space and gravity and all of the things, right? There are no rules to it, which is what a Six of Cups connection represents. But then you have to say to yourself, I have to be able to manage these emotions, because you're really actually giving the power to this person without them even realizing it. You're allowing them to have the power over your emotions when you don't stop yourself from being triggered, right? And every time you're triggered, it's like you're automatically back to where you were before, where you feel rejected, where you feel abandoned, where you feel... And it doesn't even have to be that person triggering you. It can be a song that you hear on the radio, or a memory, or somebody says something very similar to that person, to what that person would say, right? And maybe really the fact that you're not being honest with yourself, that this person affects you in the way that they do, maybe that's why the Tower shows up, because you have got to be honest with yourself. Now, maybe you're dealing with a Scorpio or a Pisces energy, since we have the moon twice here. But I feel like it's your own damn honesty that brings that Tower down, like or lack thereof. Being honest with yourself, not being honest with other people. You'd almost be more honest with other people than you would yourself any day of the week. I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. So let's see. March, we have the World. And really, I think March and April go together. March is the World, April is the Devil. And I feel like they're going together because I feel like you're closing off a karmic cycle, whether that means you're closing off a cycle with an actual person, if you're closing off how you feel like your own personal feelings, ideas, situations, all of that, right? Maybe that's the cycle that's closing. It's definitely shutting though. And here's the other thing is, you know, maybe you're finally releasing whatever relationship that's holding you hostage right now in your mind, because I don't feel like this is actually a physical thing. Now, if you're actually breaking up with somebody or closing a cycle with somebody, it's very real. Could be, again, a Pisces energy, since we have the High Priestess here. But it feels like more than anything, I feel like you're closing off the idea of a person, because I don't think that you're really, I feel like you're keeping this healing journey that you're on right now. I feel like you're keeping it to yourself, you know, with the High Priestess. So let's see what the High Priestess is. Okay. And the World, and Hold on one second. I'll be right back. Hold on one second. Okay. So I feel like some of you have to have a conversation with somebody. And I think you're afraid. It's like, you know, that you have to close a relationship or close a connection with someone, but you're actually afraid to say the words because what if they're gone forever? And that's sort of the risk that you have to take when you're doing this, because you can't stay connected to the toxicity. You can't do it to yourself anymore. So I think that you're getting really honest with yourself about a conversation that you need to have. So we have the Page of Swords on the High Priestess. And I think you're coming out as the Page of Swords because it's very timid. It's a very timid feeling, like, I know I need to have this conversation, but I'm afraid that I'm going to lose everything that I've ever wanted. The Eight of Swords on the World. Like, do I really close this cycle? I don't know. Should I really close this cycle? But this is definitely toxic. And I can tell it's toxic to you because, first of all, the reason why I had to pause the video is I was starting to it felt like a migraine was coming on. And I feel this pressure and this pain in my neck and in my head as I'm doing your reading. And all I can think about is the stress of whatever you guys are going through is literally giving you headaches. And you can't even think straight. You can't even like listen to your own intuition because the stress of this situation is so, it's, you know, and I understand that relationships can be stressful, and I understand that even like ending a relationship, and maybe you're not ending it, but a part of it has to end, or something about the relationship has to change in some way, shape, or form. But if it's so much that you're literally in pain, that's not okay for you guys. And then we have the Nine of Cups on the Two of Cups. And maybe what you think that you want, maybe what you think you want isn't the best for you. Maybe something else would be better, but you are just being stubborn. And you think that this is what you truly, you're like, but this is the perfect person. Is it really the perfect person? Would you be miserable if it was the perfect person? And then the Devil. So there's some kind of karmic lesson here. Yeah, and to like really, I feel like some of you need to start looking at the Ten of Cups in a different way. Because I think the confusion is real. I think that you've done confused yourself because you're like, but this is what I thought I wanted. And this is, you know, this person is what I thought I wanted, or this connection is what I thought I wanted. And now I don't even know what to think anymore. What do I do? What do I do? And you've done confused yourself with the Seven of Cups. Then we have the Ten of Cups, and then we have Temperance. Be kinder to yourself than what you're doing. The idea of what the Ten of Cups is, I feel like this is changing. Because you're balancing out your heart and your mind, you're not strictly thinking about what your heart wants, and you're not strictly thinking about what your mind wants. You're putting both of them together, and you're saying, this is who I am as a whole. And I'm not going to settle anymore. And if that means in June, I'm on pause for a while to kind of allow myself to restructure things in my life, then that's okay. You know, it's so funny because people literally think that we are supposed to be in relationships for our entire lives. And I'm like, when you're in a relationship the whole time of your, like from the time, you know, if you start a relationship, because I know some people that are still together, you know, that I went to high school with, and they started dating in like their freshman year of high school. So they've been together for like 25 years, 27 or 8 years actually. And I look at that and I'm just like, do you ever find out who you really are as a person when you are in a relationship that long? You know what I mean? And, so I feel like this is like kind of redefining, it's redefining what the connection means to you. it's letting you know, and this is definitely a very Saturnian lesson. Wherever your Saturn lands in your birth chart, you'll get kind of more of an intensity to that. But you're redefining who you are and how you relate to other people within connections, right? Because the Lovers, that's your energy. And you being this confused, sure, this Saturnian lesson is, and maybe it's a Capricorn that's making you confused, because Capricorn has shown up several times. But I feel like your confusion is because you wanted the 10 of Cups to look one certain way, and 2020 is showing you that you'll be much happier if you look at it this way instead. It's a totally, and that's, that kind of repositioning in your life can knock a person off balance. I sort of feel like this is sort of a gift. I don't know. I don't know what you have to end in your life in order to regain the balance for yourself. This could even be like an addiction, because the devil also rules addictions. Like maybe you're addicted to smoking, maybe you're addicted to drinking, maybe maybe this is an addiction and this has nothing to do with anybody else in your life, but totally, being attached. So of course you'd be confused with yourself, and now you're learning how this addiction has been ruling you this whole time. And Saturn is showing you how you can regain your balance again and how you can start over. But I think it's requiring you to look at yourself in probably a way that you haven't looked at yourself in a long time, as like a creator, as the beginning. With May, we have the Empress. And I know, again, like I said, the readings have been really, really spiritual and really, really deep. This isn't about like the everyday, am I going to get a new job? Am I going to have a new relationship? Yada, yada, yada. 2020 is really about allowing the deep emotional parts of who we are surface, So I think there's sort of a rebuilding process that happens with you in May and June with the Empress. I think that you are either placed on like a forced pause, which means a forced pause for me would be like maybe you get sick, or maybe you end up so exhausted that you just have to like have a vacation time, or like a weekend off or a week off or whatever. But we have the Hanged Man. We also have the Hanged Man in June. So I feel like this pause kind of starts in May. We have the Ace of Pentacles, and then we have the Five of Pentacles. And here's the reason why you have to pause, is because I feel like and this could actually have to do with work. Maybe some of you are getting laid off and you have to look for a new job. If some of you are being rejected at your job in some way, shape, or form, I feel like there's a better one that's coming. You might have to wait a couple of months. It might feel like much longer than that, but I think it's only going to be like 2 months at the most, right? I feel like with the Ace of Pentacles, something bigger and better is coming along after this. Maybe some of you are even going to be starting your own business with the Empress energy here. But you have to be on pause, because it's almost as if you have to be on pause so you don't skip the steps. Like you would get too excited and miss some things. I don't know what that means. Some of you, this might be like buying a new house. For some of you, this Ace of Pentacles could be a new stable relationship after a time of not having a relationship. Some of you aren't even seeing this coming because you're so focused on what's not happening in your life, because it's going to start feeling really, really slow. I think this is when the retrograde seasons start. Maybe it's June when the retrograde seasons start. But with the Knight of Pentacles on the Hanged Man, you're feeling quite stuck. I think the reason why I think the Two of Swords came out on the Ace of Pentacles, it's like you don't see the gift, or you don't see the blessing coming at you from source, it's like you're missing it. And I think it's because of how you feel, how this slow down, this slower energy has made you feel. The Five of Pentacles. It's very interesting when mutable signs are told to slow down by the universe. It gets very frustrating. I know exactly how you guys feel in that. But the Six of Swords on the Five of Pentacles. And that's the thing is I feel like the Five of Pentacles might be a little bit of an illusion, because there's actually something pretty big coming at you, but you're not noticing it. It's not readily noticeable. So I feel like the Six of Swords here is telling you you're going to feel one way, but rest easy, because things are actually better than they may appear. And then we have the Hanged Man for June. So let's see. Oof. I'm literally hearing some of you are done fighting for love. You're like, I don't want to do it anymore. Five of Wands, the World, and the Two of Cups. I literally don't want to fight for love anymore. And so I'm just going to sit here like this, and I'm not fighting anymore. It's not going to happen. I just realized something. Hold on a second. I don't know if that's going to make anything better or worse. Yeah, I sort of feel like by June, you just want to be single. Like, you're done with the fighting. I feel like you sort of just want to be left alone. And that's the thing, is like when you finally put your hands up, Gemini, and you say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just going to pay attention to myself. I am just going to sit here and I'm going to mind my own damn business while everybody else is arguing and fighting. I'm going to love myself into eternity with this Ace of Cups on the World. And that's when things become clear with your relationships. So I feel like there will be a couple of months of struggling with your relationships in the beginning of January, or the beginning of 2020. Like, the first 6 months feels like a pretty big struggle with your relationships, and maybe not just even romantic ones, but maybe with other people too. But I think that by June, when you finally pull yourself away, and because I kind of feel like you're like, I can't win, so I'm just going to back off and not say anything. I feel like that's what you're doing. You're the one that's retreating. You're the one that's going on pause, and you're paying more attention to yourself and your journey. You're staying in your lane, right? And you're not getting in anybody else's drama anymore. And that's when things start to become clear. And when I say when things become clear, I feel like that's when relationships start to get healed. I feel like that's when you start to realize the kind of people that you want to have up in your business and in your life and in your world. Because when you're focusing on yourself and you're realizing, oh, damn, I never deserved how that person treated me. Like, that person treating me that way was really shitty, and I just let it happen. And then you can learn how to forgive yourself for putting yourself in those kinds of situations. That's what this feels like. I told you that these readings were deep. Because you're really paying attention to how you relate to others. Because you're done relating to others like this in the Five of Wands. You're like, if you can't understand me, if you're not resonating with me, then we don't need to be in each other's space anymore. And it's not even like you're like at the point where you're done apologizing for it too. You're just like, I'm not anymore. I'm not going to fight this anymore. That's what it feels like. So good for you. So let's see what you guys have coming after the Hanged Man, after fighting for your cause, after saying, I'm not going to do that shit anymore, let's shuffle. Gemini for July through December 2020. And this is the rest of the cards. The other cards that we just used, they're sitting right here. Okay. So we have July is the Hermit. So you may still want to be by yourself in July. Ooh, and maybe even August. You guys might be on like a road to being a hermit for a couple months. The High Priestess, or maybe you're starting your plans, you're just not telling anybody. In August. In September, feeling yourself, feeling a relationship maybe. October, we have Justice. November, we have the Star. And December, ooh, good. Ending the year with the Sun. At least y'all didn't get the Tower. See, I'm serious. So, if you would like to get a glimpse at your extended, the information is in the description box below. You can go to my website or you can become a patron on Patreon. I love you guys. If you want to get a personal reading with me, I still have some spots open for 2019. The jewelry's on sale. The 30-minute readings are on sale. Don't forget to join us for the weekly meditations. I love you all so much. Have a wonderful holiday, wonderful, safe holiday, and I'll see you for January readings. Bye.